Hello from sunny Preston. I can't really do the little IPA things in the corner now because I'm at university. I don't have access to the editing software, but that means I'll have to do little phone videos instead. So I'm sorry I haven't made a video in a little while. I thought I ought to make one today. It's not going to be about linguistics today. It's going to be about a way in which I think historical films and books often miss the mark when they're trying to realistically and naturalistically show a historical period, and that is that they don't do casual conversation very well. So nowadays, I think outside of work, probably 90% of the talking we do is in a casual way with our friends, with our family, over food or drink or whatever. Just exchanging stories, exchanging jokes, inside jokes for the most part, referring back to things we've said before, all this sort of stuff, stumbling over our words, not talking perfectly. And I think films don't, and books indeed, don't do a very good job of recreating a historical version of that from whatever era they're trying to present. So, for example, all these things we have today, people spoke like that in the 1940s, people spoke like that in Shakespeare's day, and Old English speakers spoke like that, Old Norse speakers and Gothic speakers and Latin speakers, and we just don't see much of it because, well, as far as a historical record goes, there's not much record of it because it's not a very prestige way of speaking, so it doesn't really get written down. The 1800s is the first time when people tried to capture naturalistic speech patterns in writing, as far as I'm aware, and it's, even then, most of the speech, or most of what we read is prestige literature, high-class literature, that's written in a very verbose sort of way, in a very wordy way. So it gives us this idea that people in the past were very wordy, they spoke very verbosely, they didn't talk to each other casually like we do now. And that's just wrong, I think, and I think films and books ought to try and correct that misconception a little bit by maybe trying to reconstruct what casual conversation might have been like in whatever era they're looking to recreate. Because I think it's very hard to get into a film, and this is probably not the case for everyone, but I think it's very hard to get into a film when there's no naturalism. I don't feel like I'm there, I don't feel like I'm watching real events that have actually happened, and I find it hard to suspend my disbelief. And I'm not asking that everybody, spend half the film, talking in this way, but it would be nice to just see snippets of this conversation. I think the reason a lot of writers and a lot of screenwriters don't like to do it is that they have this idea, this strange idea. I think that every single word, every single sentence, every scene, everything an actor says has to further the story, has to push the story forward. And I don't get this for my own part, but I'm sure there's a reason for it. I'm sure there's some formulaic reason why it has to be that way. But I don't see why, even if you were just justifying it on the basis of sort of character development, I don't see why you can't try and make it a little bit more naturalistic by including these sorts of conversations, making people seem a bit more human, because they were human. And I really don't doubt that people from all eras have had this casual style of conversation, which just gets overlooked in films and in books. So that's my little spiel for today. I hope it wasn't too boring, and I'll try and make something else quite soon. It might have to be a phone video again, but that's the way it has to be. Thank you for watching, and I hope you're all having a good January and having a nice little recover from whatever Christmas brought to your home. I've missed the button.